Thank you so much. Yeah, as mentioned, my name's Iman Yahya, and today I'm going to be talking about the ethical implications of big data and AI in ophthalmology, with a specific focus on addressing inequities in data access and early detection of diabetic retinopathy. So the key aims of the study were one, to evaluate the role of big data and artificial intelligence in the early detection of diabetic retinopathy and see how these technologies influence health disparities. The second aim was to identify and critically analyze the different ethical challenges associated with big data and artificial intelligence. And the final aim was to explore the different ethical considerations that are needed to promote equitable access to AI technologies to reduce disparities in the detection of diabetic retinopathy. So my previous speakers have spoken about diabetic retinopathy, but it is the leading cause of preventable vision loss, and it's typically asymptomatic initially. And that means patients are usually unaware of the retinal damage that's happening. And that's why it's even more important that early identification and timely diagnosis occurs to reduce the risk of blindness. So I'm currently based in the UK, and in the UK, everyone who has diabetes over the age of 12 is invited for an eye screening. And if no signs of diabetic retinopathy are found in their last two tests, then they'd be invited every 2 years. And we use different modalities to identify the diabetic retinopathy. And I guess this is where big data and AI can make a difference, because diabetes is increasing across the globe. And in some areas, they don't have the resources, they don't have the ophthalmologists to ensure that they are able to kind of conduct screening programs. And so AI is able to analyze large data sets and identify disease features, and it can support screening programs, and it can improve efficiency and expand the access of diabetic retinopathy screening and diagnoses. So during our study, we conducted a review to assess the impact of the AI and big data in early detection and healthcare access for diabetic retinopathy. We utilized three main databases, so Google Scholar, PubMed, and Sconas. And this is essentially what we typed in. So we looked at keywords like big data, AI, ophthalmology, diabetic retinopathy, early detection, and inequities, alongside a few others that are on the screen. So as you can see on the right-hand side, we identified 490 studies, and after reviewing them and removing the duplications and studies that didn't meet our inclusion criteria, that kind of ended up in 55 different studies. So our inclusion criteria was peer-reviewed original research reviews and clinical trials, and we kept studies that were aligned with the study aims and the key focus, which is AI and big data applications for early detection. Looking at was between March 2020 and March 2025, and our exclusion criteria was non-English studies, non-peer-reviewed publications. So things like editorials, things like theses, those were excluded. In terms of big data and AI in ophthalmology, there were five kind of key categories that were recurring. There were other things that also came up, but these were the five key ones. So the first one is early detection and screening. So AI systems can detect DR from retinal images, and this is especially with like utilizing deep learning algorithms like convolutional neural networks, which I know one of the other speakers also spoke about. An example of this is iArt. So iArt has been clinically tested in GP and eye care settings, and this showed a sensitivity of 96% and a specificity of 94%. Secondly, AI helps in terms of automating decisions. So AI can assist clinicians in interpreting retinal scans quickly and accurately. It can flag urgent cases and it can help ophthalmologists prioritize patients who need immediate follow-up, which in turn improves triage and reduces the workload. Thirdly, AI and big data can help with personalized patient care. So AI can detect disease progression for individual patients, and this really allows for tailored follow-up intervals and management plans. And it also allows for high-risk patients to be monitored more closely. One of the studies we found outlined an algorithm named DeepDR Plus, and it predicted disease progression over 5 years, and it provided a efficient screening timetable and a personalized risk assessment. So fourthly, we have big data for multimodal AI. So multimodal AI combines multiple data sources such as fundus photography, OCT scans, clinical records, and lab data. And collectively, these improve AI performance and it allows for more accurate predictions and it helps develop new algorithms for screening and clinical decisions. And finally, we have telemedicine and remote access. So AI and cloud-based systems allow for remote analysis of retinal images. And this is especially important in rural areas because it expands the access to screening and it ensures early detection outside of traditional clinics. And this is especially important, I guess, in underserved communities. So in terms of the ethical implications of data access and utilization, again, we've categorized this into 5 key sections. So the first one being data privacy and security. So protecting sensitive data is super important, as we all know. AI systems rely on large data sets, so we must ensure that these are secure from breaches and misuse, and we can do that through secure storage, anonymizing patient data, and ensuring that it's all ethical. And that means being compliant to legal frameworks to safeguard the patient, safeguard the healthcare professional, and also maintain the trust in AI-driven healthcare. Secondly, we have bias and fair representation. So the efficacy of the AI models really depends on data sets that are used during its development, and it can only perform well when it's trained on representative data sets. So it's going to underperform if we're not using representative data sets, and this makes decisions difficult to interpret, and it can, yeah, it can increase disparities if we're only using if we're only using data on a specific demographic. So, for example, systems that were trained on retinal images from an individual with lighter fundus pigmentation can show reduced diagnostic accuracy in individuals with a darker fundus pigmentation. Thirdly, we have transparency, interpretability, and black box. So many AI systems, especially those using deep learning models, have a complex and sometimes invisible internal working. And this makes decisions difficult to interpret and it can raise concerns about clinician trust and responsible use. And as a result, developers and clinicians should work together to ensure that models are explainable and ethically used in a clinical setting. Fourthly, we have regulatory and ethical compliance. So AI in healthcare should adhere to regulation and ethical guidelines, and this ensures that the systems are safe, that they're reliable, that they're equitable, while maintaining accountability. And ethical oversight is important given the impact it can have on patient care and the decisions made by clinicians. I'm going to touch a bit more on regulatory and ethical compliance later on. But finally, we have data ownership and consent. Patients have a right to control how their data is collected and how it's used. And this is especially relevant for retinal images that are used during AI development and research. And a part of this means obtaining informed consent, ensuring that the data collection is ethical, and ensuring that patient autonomy is always upheld. Moving on to inequities in treatment availability and access, there's lots of different things that contribute to these, but we've categorized them into three main sections. So, socioeconomic disparities, racial and ethnic minority groups often experience higher prevalence of diabetic retinopathy, and they're more likely to also develop vision-threatening forms of diabetic retinopathy. However, they also typically show lower screening uptake. Cultural and language barriers can limit an individual's understanding, and that subsequently means that they're less likely to engage with the screening program. Although healthcare professionals have carried out like education and awareness campaigns, sometimes this doesn't necessarily communicate well to patients from specific demographics and groups, and this can really perpetuate inequities. So AI systems can exhibit varying degrees of false positives and false negatives depending on the population characteristics, and this can include things like the age of the individual, the retinal anatomy, and the disease prevalence. And it really highlights the need for careful evaluation of the algorithm and how it functions across diverse populations. Secondly, we have health system inequities. Access to healthcare can differ dramatically depending on the location of individuals and the healthcare setting. So things like whether they're in an urban environment or a rural environment, whether they're accessing healthcare in a public hospital or a private hospital, whether the kind of healthcare system is fragmented. These things really kind of can lead to delays and inconsistencies, and it can exacerbate inequities. And AI utilization is very much dependent on the infrastructure. So things like whether the healthcare provider has the imaging devices, what kind of quality they are, whether they have a reliable electricity source, whether they have stable internet. All these things are very much dependent on the infrastructure, and therefore, like strategic investment in the infrastructure and development is needed, especially in low resource settings. Otherwise, we can end up with like a two-tier system where it's mainly high resource settings that are benefiting from AI and big data. And I guess this is where portable technology and decentralized screening can play a role. So, for example, one of the papers showed that smartphone-based imaging have the ability to deliver diabetic retinopathy screening in under-resourced settings. So the final category is technology and AI implementation gaps. So while AI screening can improve detection, if treatment services are not available or they're not integrated into the local healthcare system, then the inequity will persist. And although COVID-19 has really accelerated the adoption of telemedicine and has demonstrated that it is feasible and it is scalable across some places, we still need to ensure that continuity of care is in place, and that patients that are screened and diagnosed are linked to the specific treatment pathways. So moving on to regulatory and policy considerations. So there are four main categories here. With regulatory approval for AI tools, they need to meet rigorous standards for safety, accuracy, and clinical effectiveness. And this ensures that all the tools are validated before they're being deployed into patient care. And regulations should enforce stringent data protection standards and compliance with like privacy legislation and secure data handling protocols. Secondly, we have ethical guidelines for AI use. So policies define how AI should be used responsibly in screening and diagnosis. And this includes principles like transparency, accountability, patient-centered implementation, and it ensures that AI supports the clinician rather than replaces professional judgment. Thirdly, we have data governance and standardization. So handling and sharing data securely is really important. Ensuring that data sets are standardized improves the fairness, improves the reproducibility and interoperability, and this supports reliable AI performance. And finally, we have accountability and medico-legal responsibility. So AI-assisted decisions can blur the lines of responsibility between the clinician, the hospital, the institution, and the developer. And healthcare professionals can face malpractice, negligence, and product liability if the AI system is misused and isn't critically evaluated. So clear guidelines should be put in place to share accountability, and a clinician oversight is essential to mitigate that legal risk. Um, so in So in terms of the long-term impact and sustainability of AI and big data, there are four main categories. So the first one being the integration of AI into healthcare systems. So embedding AI screening tools into routine diabetic retinopathy care ensures continuous monitoring, and it should be integrated into the existing workflow. Secondly, we have ongoing algorithm evaluation and updates. So AI models aren't static, they do require regular audits that are needed to detect if there's performance drift or if there's any biases, and it ensures that algorithms remain accurate and fair across populations. And this kind of needs continuous validation to maintain the trust and clinical effectiveness. Thirdly, we have infrastructure and workforce development. So long-term sustainability means that the key kind of stakeholders and the key people involved should be updated and should receive any training that they require. This also means strengthening the infrastructure and building the capacity to ensure that AI tools are adopted successfully. Finally, we have ethical and equitable deployment. So AI benefits should reach underserved communities and high-risk populations, and that means balancing the technological innovation with the patient privacy and equitable access. And ethical deployment should ensure that long-term impact of AI is effective and socially responsible. So there are five main key takeaway messages. The first one is that diabetic retinopathy remains a major health challenge, and the sooner you detect it in a patient, the kind of more likely you are in terms of preventing vision loss. The second one is that big data and AI does offer a lot of promise. It improves screening efficiency and accuracy and access. Thirdly, ethical and regulatory oversight is essential. And this is to protect the privacy of the patient, to reduce bias, and to ensure that there is transparency so that trust can be built and maintained. Fourthly, inequities in care do need to be addressed. Otherwise, like I mentioned, you can end up with a two-tier system where it's only high resource settings that are benefiting. And then, yeah. And finally, sustainability requires integration. So that means continuously evaluating the AI models, ensuring that everyone is trained, and ensuring that the infrastructure is in place. So thank you for your time, and these are the key references I've used.